Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be telling you guys how to read the Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. So there are two questions I constantly get asked on my channel. Number one is, where did I get my Angelic Rune necklace? I got it in a box of mini City of Bones Vivi merch from Barnes & Noble, but you can find it on Amazon and eBay. But number two is, how do I read the Shadowhunters Chronicles? So I'm gonna tell you today. So if you're currently watching this video, you might just like my channel in general. You might be searching yourself for the perfect reading order, or else myself, or maybe one of your friends sent you a link to this video because God, does it take long to explain. But now let's explore some of the different ways that you can read the Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. So I figured the best way to introduce this video is to tell you how the author herself recommends reading her own books. So if you were unaware, I had the most amazing opportunity last year to sit and chat with Cassandra Clare herself, and so I will leave the link to that interview below if you'd like to check it out in full. But one of the questions I asked her was, how does she recommend reading her own books? What order should we read the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, and the Dark Artifices in all of her novellas? So this is how Cassie Clare recommends reading her books.
I mean, okay, the patented Cassandra Clare way to read them is to read them in publication order.
Okay.
But a lot of people are understandably don't necessarily want to do that because they like to finish out the story that they're reading before they start a new book. So if you're one of those people, I would recommend reading Mortal Instruments, Infernal Devices, and then Dark Artifices.
Okay. It's good to know.
Definitely don't start with the Dark Artifices.
Oh my gosh, no. I have people that are like, do I have to read the rest of her books to read Lady Midnight? And I'm like, yes.
You kind of, yeah. I mean, unless you don't ever want to read the earlier ones, then you can start with it.
This leads into the first suggestion I have for you guys, which is to read them in publication order. City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, Clockwork Angel, City of Fallen Angels, Clockwork Prince, City of Lost Souls, Clockwork Princess, The Bane Chronicles, City of Heavenly Fire, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and Lady Midnight. And then Lord of Shadows coming out this May. This is definitely a safe way to read them because you will never risk being spoiled. If you didn't know, the Shadowhunter Chronicles are all integrated throughout each series. Storylines overlap, characters from different books play roles in newer books. It can be easy to find yourself reading about something you haven't fully consumed, so this way totally avoids it. You're experiencing the story in the exact way that it was created, so you can't really go wrong there. Now, I am a marathon series reader. When I pick up a new series, I want to be totally immersed in that world. I just want to binge read all the books at once. So this third method allows you to kind of do that with each series. So using this method, you can read the first three books of the Mortal Instruments series, City of Bones, City of Ashes, and City of Glass. Then you can read all of TID, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. The last three books of the Mortal Instruments series, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire. And then finishing with the novellas and the newest series, The Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and Lady Midnight. If you didn't know, the Mortal Instruments series was actually originally supposed to be a trilogy. The story was actually supposed to end with City of Glass, but Cassie decided afterwards that she wanted to continue on with the story. So you kind of consider the Mortal Instruments series to be like two individual trilogies put together, but they have a distinct midpoint. So the ending of City of Glass does feel complete. It's satisfying, there are a few loose ends, and it's a really great point to take a break, read TID, and then enter back into the world. I have one final full reading order to recommend to you guys, but then I have a little section of notes that I've kind of labeled as requirements, as things that you should really keep in mind throughout whatever reading order you choose, and some suggestions that I think just altogether improve your reading experience regardless of the order you choose. My fourth reading suggestion is to start with the prequel. So then this order would be Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, Clockwork Princess, City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, City of Heavenly Fire, The Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and Lady Midnight. The Infernal Devices takes place in the late 1800s, which is like a century plus before the Mortal Instruments characters are even alive, so you can't be spoiled for that storyline at all. So the advantage to this method is obviously not being spoiled, but a lot of people do tend to like the Infernal Devices better than the Mortal Instruments series, so having the knowledge of the TID characters in that storyline already in your mind before it intersects with the Mortal Instruments might actually prove to be more enjoyable for you. Now, the first requirement, and I'm very blatantly using air quotes because it's not something you absolutely have to do, like this is just something that a lot of readers feel is very important. Most of us Shadowhunters fans kind of stress that you should finish TID before reading the final book of the Mortal Instruments series. This is because in City of Heavenly Fire, the storylines blatantly meet up, and so a lot of us recommend finishing TID first because number one, you might be spoiled, and number two, you'll get so many more feels if you actually know what's going on. To be fair, my mom read all of the Mortal Instruments series before even starting the Infernal Devices, and she said she didn't feel spoiled, and I've had a lot of people come to me and say the same thing, so it's not necessary, but it's highly, highly, highly encouraged. Semi-requirement number 2 is to finish the Mortal Instruments series before starting the Dark Artifices, which is Lady Midnight. So many people ask me, can I read Lady Midnight without reading all of the other Shadowhunter books? The short answer is yes, you absolutely have the ability to, but it's not something I would personally recommend. Lady Midnight takes place like 5 years after the conclusion of the Mortal Instruments series, so the foundation of this storyline and the way the world has evolved is a result of the events of City of Heavenly Fire. And this isn't fact, but I do feel that as the Shadowhunters books progresses, each first book in a series has less world building than the first one, because it's kind of just expected that before you read a sequel series, you're gonna read the first series. There's still a lot of world building, especially because the worlds are expanding in each series, but I don't think you're gonna get the full package unless you read City of Bones before delving into something like Lady Midnight. I feel you are at a disadvantage if you start with Lady Midnight because it's more focused on the current circumstances of this world rather than the history, the magic system. And also with the first 2 series of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, we are experiencing it through the eyes of 2 characters who don't know this world exists, just like us readers. TDA follows protagonists who have been Shadowhunters their entire life, so it's not as necessary for them to point out things that they've always known to be true. So yes, you absolutely can read Lady Midnight first, but I would definitely recommend at least trying one of the other Shadowhunters books, if anything, just to get a better understanding of the world. Recommendation number 3 is one of the more lighter suggestions, and that is to read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy before Lady Midnight. This one is nowhere near as crucial as reading the Mortal Instruments series before Lady Midnight, but I'd still recommend it because I feel like it overall really improves your reading experience. I just feel if you read Lady Midnight first, you'll miss out on so many fun facts and stories that happened as a result of the novellas that do have some relevance in Lady Midnight. There's some things that you'll just kind of have to accept that this is how things are now without actually understanding the full story of how things got there. And the ending of Lady Midnight is also very closely connected to Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, so while the rest of us are going, oh my god, this is absolutely crazy, you might be going, oh, this is okay, but I don't really understand what it means. And another recommendation that I feel is just a given is to read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy after you finish the Mortal Instruments series. This one, like Lady Midnight, would not recommend reading before the last book of the Mortal Instruments series, as the first sentence of the synopsis will spoil you for the end of City of Heavenly Fire. So definitely just don't do it to yourself and just read it after you finish that baby of a book, and then you can indulge in this one. Let me just make it clear that nothing in this video is essential. I'm not telling you these are the ways to read it and you can only read these ways. Not at all. I just get asked this question so often that I wanted to make like a full comprehensive video on the different ways you can do it, and how, as someone who has read the Mortal Instruments series 7 times and read the rest a couple of times as well, I just thought it might be a little bit more insightful to have all of these different suggestions. I know this video is very long to talk about reading orders, but I have 2 more additional notes, and that's to talk about 2 little books that kind of go along with the Shadowhunter Chronicles, but they are in no way required at any point for you to read them. They're more just like fun books related to the world if you're interested in that sort of thing. The first is the Shadowhunters Codex, which is not a novel. It is actually like the handbook or the guide to shadow hunting that they kind of talk about in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. It really breaks down the world as a whole. Like, if there's anything you really wanted to know about Shadowhunters and shadow hunting in general, it's gonna be in this book. And Jace, Clary, and Simon actually have little notes within the margins. If you can see over here, like, there's little notes that they put in along with it. So it's just an all-around fun read if you're really invested in the world and want to learn more. And then there's also a book called Notable Shadowhunters and Denizens of Downworld, which is another just fun novelty book. This is the original one that's from topadco.com, but I believe now they have a black version that's on Amazon. It's basically just like an encyclopedia of all of the characters from the Shadowhunter Chronicles, from the Mortal Instruments series, the Infernal Devices, the Dark Artifices, the Last Hours, which is coming out, even Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and I believe there might be a section on the Bane Chronicles. On the left side of the page, it just has like fun facts and information about each character, and then it has this beautiful artwork drawn by Cassandra Jean, and it's just another really great book to add to your collection if you really love the Shadowhunter world. So that is my video on how to read the Shadowhunter Chronicles. It was long, but I had a lot I wanted to talk about because I wanted it to be very comprehensive and to offer you guys as much knowledge as I could have possibly gained from reading reading these books over and over and over. If you have read the Shadowhunter Chronicles or any of the books, let me know in the comments of this video what order did you read them in originally, and if you have reread them, what order did you reread them in, or if you were going to reread them, how would you reread them now? But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!